International rugby is drawing ever nearer. Autumn Nations Cup is not too far away. Obviously, we got All Blacks and Wallabies this weekend, but good news from the Northern Hemisphere. Wales have named their squad for the Autumn Nations Cup and to finish off the Six Nations. 21 forwards and 17 backs. I might need a little bit of help with some of these guys from you guys if you could give us some insights in the comment section. Very much welcome. There's, I think, 7 debutants if they can get a cap before the end of the year. And some established names as well. A fair few guys injured. I'll go through the squad, some of the highlights for me. And as I said, because the Welsh teams weren't really in the Champions Cup in this current iteration, I've missed out on seeing the Welsh teams playing, kind of the Pro 14 team. So I'm probably a fair way out of touch, to be fair, and you guys can definitely let me and the others know just how some of these guys have been going and who you're excited to see playing. The forwards, you'd have to say there's certainly a fair bit of experience there. There's not really much in the way of big changes. You got props, Reece Carey, Wyn Jones, Nicky Smith, Samson Lee, Dylan Lewis, Thomas Francis, and Leon Brown. All of these guys have got 10 plus caps, so they're not really looking like, blooding any really young guys. Like Leon Brown is the least experienced of these props with 10 caps. All the rest are, 20. Oh, no, actually, Reece Carey's only got 8, but he's pretty young. Isn't he like 22 or something? So, yeah, they're all pretty, 20, 30 cap guys. Samson Lee's got 40. Tom Francis got 48, playing for a pretty mean-looking Exeter pack. So, yeah, you'd have to say in terms of the props, they are looking good. Rob Evans is still injured, but yeah, you'd have to be pretty happy with that, I reckon. But again, do let me know if any of these guys have been underperforming or playing exceptionally well. Hookers, you got Ken Owens, Ryan Elias, and Sam Parry. Sam Parry's 27 years old and plays for the Ospreys, but I don't remember him very clearly. That says more about me than it does about him. Not watching enough Welsh rugby clearly, but he will come in and get a debut if he can make the squad. Ken Owens is obviously your main guy. I think Wyn Jones and Dylan Lewis were the other guys in the front row in terms of the main minute getters in the Six Nations before lockdown. So how Wayne Pivac chooses to go. And it's going to be an interesting test for Wayne Pivac because prior to lockdown, the Six Nations campaign wasn't going all that swimmingly, but this is kind of a second chance. Obviously, he's putting his own way of doing things after such a long time with Gatland. So, yeah, we'll see how they go. But that's the forwards in terms of the front rowers. Locks, you got Alan Wyn-Jones, Will Rowlands, Jake Ball, Seb Davis, and Corey Hill. Alan Wyn-Jones and Jake Ball were your main guys. Interestingly, there's no Adam Baird for this one, but I think I saw he only played like 9 minutes during the Six Nations, so maybe that's kind of indicative. Will Rowlands is your man with just the 1 cap, but he's a proper bit of tall timber. I think he's the tallest of the lot at 203 in terms of, centimetres. Alan Wyn-Jones is 198 and Jake Ball's 197, whereas Seb Davis 198 and Corey Hill's 193, so more like that kind of lock loose forward mould. But yeah, I can't see it being anything other than Alan Wyn, despite the fact that people keep saying he's over the hill. I'm not sure how that is in Wales. I don't know if that's non-Welsh fans who keep throwing that one at him, or if it's because whenever I talk about Lions tour and I think Alan Wyn-Jones can still go to South Africa, people say, "Nah, he's too old. He's too old." What do Welsh fans feel about that? Because I know Scotland fans were like Greg Laidlaw were like divided on whether they should have men. I'm not sure Welsh fans still big fans of Alan Wyn, or would you rather see some of the other guys come through? Do let me know. Loosies, Wales are always blessed with depth in the loose forwards, and that does not change here. Alan Wainwright, Ross Moriarty, Talupe Falatau, Josh Navidi, Justin Tipuric, and Josh McLeod. Josh McLeod will be a first-time cap if he gets time in the Wales jersey. He's another one who I don't know a lot about. From what I read about him, he's a guy who loves to tackle. That's pretty good if you're going to be a loosie. Justin Tipuric, obviously world-class poacher of the ball. One of my favourite guys in the Welsh squad always. Faletau, I'm not sure that he's back to the traditional Faletau best, but again, if you guys have been watching him play for Bath, let me know. Navidi's kind of perennially underrated. Big work rate on him, and good ball carrier, good tackler. Moriarty, maybe it's another. I think it was Moriarty, Tipuric, and Faletau that were your main guys for minutes. And Wainwright, really dynamic. I couldn't believe he's already got 21 caps. Yeah, man, he's class. So I'm interested to see how McLeod goes, but if you're a Welsh fan, you'd have to be pretty happy with those back rowers, man. You guys breed them down up there in Wales. Backs, this is where I guess you see a few more of the uncapped guys appearing, because the 4-packs, loads of guys with 10, 20, 30, I'll win 138 caps. Backs, scrum halves, you got Reece Webb, Gareth Davis, and Kieran Hardy. I don't know much about Kieran Hardy, but he seems like a pretty big bloke for a scrum half. Obviously, Gareth Davis and Reece Webb seems to have been in pretty decent form. Gareth Davis went to the World Cup kind of as the number one guy, but they've been rotating things around. I think Thomas Williams was your main guy in terms of minutes at Six Nations time, but he's injured, so he's not going to be part of it. I should have mentioned Shingler's injured as well, so he's not part of things. Dan Bigger, 10, along with Reece Patchell, who I believe is recently back from injury, and Callum Sheedy, who I've seen playing a bit for Bristol. He'll be another debutant if he can get a cap. Seems like a pretty useful player. But Anscombe's still not available, but there's heaps of depth at 10 as well. Bigger was your main guy before lockdown. Midfielders, Owen Watkin, Nick Tompkins, Jonathan Davis. Johnny Williams is your other guy. I couldn't think about where I'd seen Johnny Williams play, but I think they said he played for England against the Barbars. Maybe that's it. He seems really familiar anyway, but he's a big fella. He's a big unit, 190 centimetres and 105 kilos. Is not much smaller than some of the locks or Lucy's. So yeah, big fella. Fantastic to see Jonathan Davis back. Alongside Tipuric, maybe my favourite Welsh player, but then I haven't got to Liam Williams yet, so excuse me if I've got a few favourites. Yeah, man, that guy had a huge injury layoff, and I think there was even talk of him potentially not being able to come back, him and that fend of his. 32 years old, still going strong, hopefully. Nick Tompkins was your main guy prior to lockdown alongside Hadley Parkes, but Hadley Parkes has gone to Japan, so he's not available, so Welsh fans, let me know how you think the midfield is going to line up. Which two guys do you reckon get the start? Because Watkins a pretty useful player as well. Outside backs, George North, Josh Adams, Lewis Rees-Zammit, Jonah Holmes, Lee Halfpenny, Yohan Lloyd, and Liam Williams. Man, there's heaps of depth. If you're a Welsh fan, are you reading this and you're as happy as I am? I don't know, man. Like, you got George North, obviously big unit, 5 caps short of a hundy. Josh Adams, World Cup, was absolutely phenomenal. People give him stick. I don't know why. I hope Welsh fans don't, because he's pretty bloody good. Rees-Zammit seems like an absolute star in the making. He's only, 19 years old. He's 191 centimetres as well, so he's a big boy. Remember, who was it? Corey Hill's 193. So that's putting that into context, although Zammit's a fair bit lighter at only 87 kilos, so he's not exactly hugely bulky. But yeah, he seems like lightning when I've seen him playing for Gloucester. Jonah Holmes, does he get a cap? Or does he get a game? I know he's got 3 caps already, but does he get a game? I feel like he's kind of down the pecking order, but you guys let me know how he's been going. Halfpenny was one of the main guys prior to lockdown. I think there were injuries from memory. Was Liam Williams still out? Or did he get injured early? Refresh my memory. But Liam Williams is there, one of the best guys under a high ball. And Yohan Lloyd is a guy who I don't know a lot about. I see he plays for Bristol. I saw his highlight reel stuff before making this video. Yeah, man, seems like a bit of a talent. From what I understand, he's a bit of a 10-15 kind of guy. Not a real big guy. 178 is smaller than all the scrum halves, I think. 81 kilos, but certainly looks pretty pretty nippy. So yeah, good mix, I think, of youth and experience. There's a few guys who are uncapped who are not all that young. To be fair, like Hardy is like 24 years old, so not exactly a spring chicken. Johnny Williams is 23, so it's only kind of like Reece Zammit and Lloyd that you look at and go, those guys are still teenagers essentially. Other guys who are injured, I mentioned Rob Evans, Shingler, Thomas Williams. Owen Lane is still injured. Johnny McNichol, who was one of your mainstays in that prior to lockdown team as well, is also out. Some of the guys who have just seemingly been dropped. Elliot D is maybe a bit surprising for me, but again, I will rely on you Welsh guys to update me. Wilgriff John was in the squad. I did read in Wales Online, of all places, that apparently Pivac's had issues with his fitness, so he said he's still got stuff to work on. At 27, he's still got time. Adam Baird, I mentioned. James Davis, but apparently he's only coming back from injury as well. I mentioned Hadley Parks. I think Owen Williams also gone to Japan, so yeah. I can hear my daughter crying, probably at the thought of Hadley Parks not playing for Wales anymore, but that is what it is. The guys move on, you got to replace them, and so pretty pumped, man. Haven't seen Wales play for bloody ages. None of us have. Pro 14's back. I'll have to pop in and see some of these guys playing for their Pro 14 team. Some of them obviously playing in England, but yeah, it's always exciting to see an international squad named. I still reckon Pivac's the guy to get the job done. Give him a bit of time. I know people weren't that happy with the Six Nations campaign, but taking over from Gats was always going to be, I don't think quite a poison chalice, but definitely a tough job. So, yes, we'll see how these guys go. There seems to be loads of depth in Welsh rugby, which is always refreshing to see. You guys let me know your thoughts on the squad. Is Liam Williams going to be wing or fullback? Anyway, you guys have any thoughts, and I'll talk to you again soon. See you later.